some of what came out of the documentary, I could have told you beforehand. There has to be, if there's going to be a good guy, there's got to be a bad guy. It's going to be a hero, there's got to be a villain. And Michael Jordan, I think, was portrayed as, and fairly accurately so, as a flawed hero. It's one of the things that we try and do in our superhero movies. Deadpool is one of my favorites, but Deadpool is quite a flawed guy. Not everybody can be Superman, and Jordan, though Superman in big situations, did expose at least some of his flaws, but explained them as, hey, winning has a price. But the big question is, the villain, portrayed as Jerry Krause, who's no longer with us, isn't here to defend himself. Is he accurately portrayed? Or Jerry Reinsdorf, who the owner, who tried to keep blood off of his hands throughout all 10 of the episodes. And, you know, Michael Jordan rolled his eyes at the idea of offering Phil Jackson another contract. Like, was Jerry Reinsdorf really kind of the guy behind the villain? And almost like Emperor Palpatine, right? Like, there are other bad guys. There's the Sith, but there's guys behind, guys even worse. This was Michael Jordan explaining why he thinks they could have won a seventh title.
In 98, Krause already said at the beginning of the season, Phil can go 82-0, and he was never going to be the coach. So when Phil said it was the last dance, it was the last dance. We knew they weren't going to keep the team. Now, they could have nixed all of it at the beginning of 98. Why say that statement at the beginning of 98? If you ask all the guys who won in 98, Steve Kerr, Judd Bushler, blah, 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 we give you 1 year contract to try for 7. You think they would have signed? Yes, they would have signed. Would I sign for 1 year? Yes, I would have signed for 1 year. I've been signing 1 year contracts up to that. Would Phil done it? Yes. Now, Pip, you would have to do some convincing, but if Phil was going to be there, if Dennis was going to be there, if MJ was going to be there to win our 7th, Pip is not going to miss out on that.
All right. There's an article which I just posted. I just posted on Twitter, and I saw it in NBC Sports Chicago. A guy named Casey Johnson said, in this, the final excerpt of Jerry Krause's unfinished and unpublished memoir, the general manager of the Bulls pulls back the curtain on the end of the dynasty. This is what he said. Up until now, as you have read this, nobody outside of Jerry Reinsdorf, myself, and a few select people in the Bulls organization really know what happened in the aftermath of winning our 6th world championship in 8 years. Did we break up a winning team so we could satisfy our own egos and win without those players and coaches? Do you really think that the people who worked so many years to win and then win again and again would be dumb enough to let egos get in the way of trying to win again? Do you think that the organization built with one single purpose, from its chairman down to the lowest ranking member of the front office, to win championships, would easily give up that thought? During the championship run of 1998, cracks in the foundation were beginning to alarmingly show up at inopportune times. Dennis Rodman was showing up as older, lack of movement by Luke Longley, the slowdown and efficiency of players playing over 100 games in 3 straight seasons. So here's what happened. They sat down. Reinsdorf, assistant general manager Jim Stack, Al Vermeil, who's the strength coach, the doctors, the head of finance, their surgeon, even their assistant to the GM. The first question is, how much could they get out of Luke Longley? The doctors thought he would break down quickly. Rodman, every person in the room was concerned that Dennis's off-the-court meanderings had caught up with him and that he was playing on fumes at the end of the season. Okay, no center, no power forward, very little cap space to sign anybody of quality to replace them. If you bring back Jordan and Pippen, who rebounds? Go to Pippen, 2 major surgeries in 2 years, one of them late in the summer to purposely defy our instructions to do it earlier and not miss regular season time. He wants to be paid superstar dollars. Is he worth the risk, even if we don't have a center and a power forward? And can he and Michael carry the load of a new coach? You know, can Michael continue his greatness without a center, without a power forward, without Pippen? Right? Steve Kerr, Judd Bushler, free agents who can get more money from other teams if we can give them under cap rules. Could you get Phil Jackson to coach without a proven center, a proven power forward? Probably Pippen. And oh yeah, by the way, Michael Jordan sliced his finger in a cigar cutter that would have prevented him from playing an entire season. To his credit, and this is Jerry Reinsdorf's own words, he could have stiffed us, signed a huge contract, but he was honest, and we were well informed that what the condition of his hand was. He didn't want to play on a rebuilding team, and he stuck to his word. In January, when the league was about to resume, remember there's a lengthy lockout, Pippen's agents asked us to do Scotty a favor. Scotty got a $20 million more by doing a sign-and trade. Jerry and I, Jerry Reinsdorf, gave him a going-away present. I called Steve and Judd and told them to take the biggest contract they could have. Luke Longley signed a 5-year deal with Phoenix. He was out of the league in 3 years. Like, look, sometimes it's just time to go. Sometimes it's time to go. Trust Phil Jackson. Don't trust Michael Jordan. It doesn't mean that Michael Jordan is full of it, but Michael Jordan believes he can win anything. And if you want to believe that Michael Jordan is right by believing that, take a look at his gambling debts. He can't win everything. Can't even win every basketball game. Phil Jackson was speaking from a point of confidence and from a perspective of where he was, where the team was. He needed time. The run was over. Sometimes it's just over. Sometimes it's just done. What was the overarching theme behind The Last Dance? That they were just trying to find a way to get through so Michael Jordan could win them just one more. You don't run that one back. Look, the perfect basketball analogy is in fact this. Anyone who's ever played pickup basketball, you get to play the last game and you're done, right? And you start to unlace your sneakers and everybody's talking about what you're doing and you're doing your kids. And I got to run. One guy's got to go to his kid's baseball game. Another guy's got to go because his kid's swimming. You know, his daughter's in a show. Guys start to unlace their sneakers and somebody goes, man, that was a great run. Let's run that back. If you lace back up your sneakers, there's 9 more guys. You're our 10th. And all right, fine, I'll go do it. Two things undoubtedly happen. One, the quality of play is not as good. And 2, somebody gets hurt. Those 2 things happen. Phil knew. That's it. We're done. That's a wrap. On to the next. And truthfully, Michael Jordan knew. But now you get 20 years and the ego of a guy who never lost in the finals and the thought of, you know, even Jordan, he would have been okay not getting there, having lost on the way there, getting beat up or falling. Like, at least he would have known. Right? Jordan wants to go out on his sword, as they call it. No one wants to go out by decision. That's what warriors do. But that doesn't make it right. That doesn't mean they could have run it back. The reality of it is they were done. Pippen was never the same. Rodman was barely in the league for 2 years before he was out. Never played more than 40 games the rest of his career. Pippen, even with that huge deal, and the next year playing 40 minutes a game, which was far more than he had ever played with the Bulls, he averaged 5 fewer points per game. He was just a shell of his former self. He was still a damn good player, but you couldn't just be a damn good player if Michael Jordan was aging and they had to have a whole new crop around them. So I get that we always want more. But how many times? Star Wars was as good a series of movies as have ever been made. And look, there are some of the new Star Wars I really, really like. But do any of them match up to the magic of the first 3? Of course they don't. They tried to go back and run back Indiana Jones. Does anyone remember I didn't even watch the fourth Indiana Jones. I get that we're in this, you're the champ until somebody beats you, and then you're no longer the champ, and then you retire. But everything from start to finish, including Jordan's retirement and the resurrection, and him losing the ball and having to, staying in town and focusing and working on his game and changing back his body and then winning 3 more titles. and winning the last one on the road, game winner as the clock runs down. Like, all of that was incredible. But less is more. More is not always more. It doesn't mean that Jordan's word doesn't speak to his own mental truths, that he believes they could have won a 7th title. But Phil Jackson, to me, has the most balance. It was over. It was time to go. It was the last dance. And we move on.